We're on, girl. We are
right.
live.
All right.
Hey, girl. I was just walking through the park, and it always reminds me of you. Work's been kicking off, as always. Always too many meetings, too much politics, just too much. Except time. Time. That just keeps ticking and going by, doesn't it?
All right, hello, and welcome to the Actors Talk. My name is Gabby Kennedy, and today I am joined by the beautiful Kandy Rohmann and Kelechi Okafor. Now, UrbanFest is doing a collaboration with the Actors Talk, and we are joined by these two who are nominated for Best Short Film, which we're going to talk about later. UrbanFest is happening September 20th through the 21st in Orlando, Florida, and we hope to see you all there. Now, today, as I mentioned, I'm joined by Kandy and Kelechi. Kandy Rohmann is the founder of Eyeruhnee Productions, where her mission is to tell stories of the unseen and the unsung. She is an actor, a producer, and a writer, working with some of UK's finest, and she's also made a notable name for herself in the theater community. Now, the beautiful Kelechi is an activist, an author, artist, entrepreneur, a writer, and mother of London. We feel that. We feel that. All right. She's also the lead actress in The Notebook, and she recently released her book, The Awakening. So thank you, ladies, both for joining us today. As I mentioned, you're in London, but ladies, tell me where you at. Where you at today? Where are you joining me from, Kandy?
I'm still in London town near the river. I'm in my home office.
Okay, all right. And Kelechi, for you?
I'm currently in London, just got back to London actually. So yeah, just taking it, trying to take it easy.
Yes, yes. All right, all right. And ladies, how did you two meet each other? How did you meet?
I think it was when Kandy had written the voice note initially. So the Young Vic Theatre, which is wonderful theatre that we have in the UK in London, have a kind of a part to it, literally called Taking Part or Neighbourhood Voices, where it's more like a community sort of theatre. Even though they've got their main theatre, they've got also this community program that brings writers in. And when writers are, they're part of a cohort annually, they get to write something, a long piece, and
Nice.
then actors are brought in to perform the pieces that have been written. And I remember being assigned the voice note written by Kandy, and just reading it, I just fell in love with it instantly because it was just so beautiful. It was so honest. It was really just a deep exploration of the varying feelings that one might experience following the loss of a friend. And it just spoke to me. It really, really resonated with me. And I had to perform this monologue in front of, the invited guests as part of the end to the program. And I just, it was just such an amazing experience to get to perform it. And I remember messaging Kandy at some point and saying this really should be a film, like it should be turned into a short film, it should be turned into something. And that's really how we got here, I think. But Kandy can add to that.
Yeah.
There's not much to add. And actually, it was really serendipitous because another actress was meant to play that part for that monologue and pulled out for, I hope she's okay, but she couldn't do it. And Kelechi was brought in to do it. And I remember it was locked down and we were all on this Zoom. And someone wrote to me in the chat from the Young Fix saying, oh, by the way, I hope it's okay, but Kelechi's going to be doing your monologue. And I'm like, my love for Kelechi is a very poorly kept secret. So I was absolutely thrilled. And as an actor, she took it to another level. And for me as a writer, it was the first piece I was seeing that I'd written on stage. And it really gave me a lot of confidence in working with the right people and how they can elevate your work, and you don't sort of have to hang on to all of your creative ideas because other people breathe so many interesting things into it and elevate it. So that was just really beautiful for me to see. And and the rest is sort of history, I think. So it's great.
I love that. I love that. Kelechi, for you, how does your personal life or your personal character sort of lead into this lead role in the voice note?
I think it resonated with me so deeply from the moment I read it as a monologue or performed it as a monologue to then us, to then directing it and starring in it as a short film. It spoke to me because I feel that resonance with the character, with Carly. I am that busy friend. I am that friend that can't always check in. I'm that friend that somebody's probably messaged me 5 times and I haven't come back to them because I'm trying to keep all of these plates spinning. So I often feel that guilt of not being there or missing things or missing events, whether it's a baby shower or so many different things. And there is that niggling feeling that, oh, I'm a bad friend because I'm not there. I'm not always there when they literally call, but I try to be on time. I try to make it to the things that I can make it to. So once I started reading the monologue initially that then grew into the script that we had for the voice note, it spoke to me because it is that thing of wanting to show up, wishing that you hadn't missed certain things, wishing that you taken notice of certain things, and accepting that you've done as much as you can, and that doesn't change the love that you have for people in your life. It's just you don't have enough of a capacity to be there in the ways that you would want to. And then there are some things that are imperceptible. You don't always see it, even if you were right there constantly all the time. There are some things that you will still naturally miss.
Yeah, that's good. And you're speaking to so many of us right now. It's like, it's not just a movie. It becomes something that women like us see, and we're like, man, I can really relate to that. I want to be there more. And just to speak honestly, this week has been so overwhelming. And now for me to align with this conversation at the end of my week, I feel like, oh, I know God loves me because he brought me right here to this place to create a healing for me that I needed at the end of my week. So let's do this. Let's do it. Now, Kelechi, you mentioned that you just got back from Grenada. You were doing a press run there for your book, Awaken. Is that right?
No, so actually the press trip there was for promoting Grenada. I was invited by the Grenada Tourism Authority because Spice Mass, which is the annual kind of annual festival rather, that takes place in Grenada, and it actually starts much earlier than August. But August is when we have the street parades and we have the fetes and everything. In different parishes in Grenada, they have their different times for celebrating. So it was an honor to be invited for the second time to take part in Spice Mass, to play Mass, which is where you wear the costumes, or you play Jab, which is, a couple of days before, or a day before you play Jab as well. So there are just so many different aspects to it. And I think it's important as somebody of the African diaspora to be able to connect the dots of where we went. Due to the transatlantic enslavement of Africans, we went all over the world. We were taken, snatched all over the world. But then due to our resilience, we were able to create life. We were able to craft cultures, which is an amalgamation of what we had before and where we found ourselves to be. And so my path, I feel like, in life currently is to try to connect those dots. And it's been brilliant that the Grenadian Tourism Board or the Tourism Authority has said, yeah, come through. So you can represent, when people see you experience our different, carnivals or whatever, when they see you experience it, they get to understand, they get educated on it. So they're not coming to it or at it from this hypersexualized place, from this super commercialized space, because we have to be honest that I did see quite a bit of that there. As somebody that's been invited to take part in the culture, seeing other people who had invited themselves into the culture hypersexualize it and really just want their picture of themselves in their pretty mask costumes. They just cared about that. They didn't care to know the people. And so then thinking about the voice note as a short film, when we were looking at how do we pay homage, how do we honor those who have passed on, right? That's when I brought in and we discussed it, bringing in my explorations of Yoruba spirituality, also known as Ifa. And I asked my Babalawo, who is like my, priest or my mentor, about incantations that one could say, that one could express for a friend, a life that has passed on. And so there's a point in the movie where you hear literally my Babalawo's voice as he says this incantation. And no matter how many times I watch it, whether we're color grading, whether we're going through this, that, and the other in the editing process, that bit always makes me emotional, because even if you don't understand Yoruba, which is the dialect that he's speaking in, you can feel that. You could feel the love. You could feel almost the ethereal, surreal element of, and also the interdimensional elements of, the realms of wishing a friend well, of wishing a soul well as they kind of journey on. So that's also part of connecting the dots, bringing people, a mainstream audience, as it were, and thinking about URBANFEST as well, bringing an audience that might be of the African diaspora, of, of the Black cultural heritage, into something as ancient as Yoruba spirituality.
Yeah, bring that on right on to Florida. There will be so many different people from all different walks of life, so many different urban films about, you name it, and it's going to be real. We have over 60 films, and to be able to see everybody in that space, it's going to be a movement. It's going to be a movement. How much does your culture influence your storytelling? How does your culture influence your storytelling? And I'll start with you, Kandy.
Good question.
You can take your time, take
It does, because as a writer, I'm evolving the more I write and the more I work. So I'm a triculture kid. I grew up in 3 different countries. Grenada, New York, London, Spain. And at the moment, I've been writing a lot around my ancestry, influenced by it, which it's interesting to the connection with Kelechi, because the only African connection you can find in my genetics, because Caribbean Black is a mix of 5 different African tribes genetically because of the transatlantic slave trade. So the one that lands is Yoruba, and I'm really into Caribbean folklore and just the connections between this world and the next and all the spaces in between. So a lot of our folklore in Grenada comes from the Yoruba religion and the Orishas. And so it's very interesting going back to the root, and also just seeing how much of that still exists, and how much, and in itself is an act of resistance, because it had to be layered with Christianity. It had to be layered in English patois, and like even the way people chose to learn and speak English was always this coded language. So I love exploring my culture. I come from really interesting places, but then I also want to just write a love story in the Bronx, right? Like it doesn't always have to be this inter spiritual thing, because ultimately everything is anyway, right? When you look at it that way. So I think no matter what I do, there's always this drop of kind of magical realism, spiritual realism, because I think that's a part of all of us anyway, but it doesn't have to be in your face. But I think it's always driven by that connection to something bigger and each other. And the reality is we're all connected anyway if you look at physics and that sort of particle level. So I love that and all the serendipitous things. So I think that's how it influences me. I just bring it all in. But at the moment, I'm definitely more kind of Caribbean diaspora linked. But I have noticed my stories are changing a little bit. So
Yeah, evolving.
exactly.
Kelechi, I would like to ask you the same question. How does your culture influence your storytelling?
I think I think it just it's almost the lens through which I see everything anyway, because I feel like there's just so much magic in the mundane, there's so much magic in the day to day, and growing up in a culture that through oral histories you learn all of these folk tales, you learn all of these things, you see the archetypes that they were meant to represent in everyday life. And so um I see myself as a storyteller in the sense that even if I'm talking about society or whether I'm recording my podcast or anything like that, everything is a story because we are an embodiment of stories. Even if we think about our DNA, right, and our ancestry, our coding, we are carrying so many stories within us. And, you know, we might have an aversion to a particular smell, don't have any reason for it, and then you find out that maybe your great great grandmother had this experience and that's why you now can't see
Mm.
certain smells. That is fascinating to me. And if we think about
Mm.
epigenetics as well, how cells mutate as a result of experiences of trauma, you know, we have had to change on a cellular level in order to resist white supremacist heteropatriarchy and to be where we are now, whether it's through colonialism or the transatlantic slave trade. But that isn't where our story stops. And that's what I hope that the voice note is an encouragement of, you know, when people do watch it. It's this idea that we don't stop, the story doesn't stop with us, the story carries on beyond us, and we have to keep living the story, we have to keep living life. It isn't just the story that we arrived with, that we had to grow up through, but it's the story that we then choose for ourselves. We can dictate where next the story goes, because essentially, not to quote Natasha Bedingfield, but the rest is still unwritten.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
exactly.
That's good. That's good. In just a few, I want to show the trailer for the voice note.
Yes.
But before we get into that trailer, Candy, I want to find out from you. How do you? I mean, this is what the story is based on. How do you maintain a healthy work life balance? You know, while managing your relationships with friends and family.
um, Great question, because I'm not entirely sure I do. I think my biggest thing is integrity, the words that's coming to mind, that I'm not always going to do it. You know, I'm not always going to be there as much as I want to be. I even recently I fell out with a very old and dear friend of mine because I dropped a ball on something, and you know that intention's not there, and I just apologized unreservedly. So it just, the way I sort of deal with it is I always turn up. I try to be true and be truthful and, you know, have integrity. And, you know, that's how I move. So even when I don't get it right, and I know there's a massive difference between intent and impact, right? So I try to own when I impact someone, and I always try to move with the best intention. So even if it hasn't landed the right way, I try to make things right. Because I think it's just really hard. I have to make choices every single day where my priority is going to be, where my attention is going, whether it's my creative work. I also do corporate work, being around my kids, how you know I get them involved in my work. So I do my best to, but then you're not always there to pick up the phone. I don't call people. I send voice notes. That's probably why we came up with, because I call them lazy phone calls, because I can send it to you and then I know everybody else I know is busy, so you could pick it up when you have a minute and get, you know, and we'll do it. But then you sort of miss that, which I think shows in the movie as well. Just to loop it back, that guilt of you know, with social media and all of these things in technology, of feeling like, oh, I'm connected, but you aren't. And it's hard. We can't do it all, but you also can't give yourself a hard time about it, because this is the society we live in, you know, and we do our best to change and adjust. And I try to be present, because while all that's happening, I still need to work out. I still need to eat well. I still need to not get old. I still need to, you know, like all the things that sort of land on us as individuals outwardly, and then your own relationship. So for me, I just have accepted that I can't do it all, and I turn up every day and do my best. I'm like, I don't know who's telling me to tell you that, like, I have an autoimmune condition, for example. So sometimes I don't have a lot of energy, and sometimes I really do. And I think we all have that, whether it's our mental load or physical load. And as an actor, for example, like when I have a big tape, if I've had a busy week, you know what? I do the best tape I can on that amount of energy, right?
Yeah.
Same for my writing, same for my whatever. So I just do the best I can on the day with what I've got. So.
Yes.
that's
good. That's good, because although we balance a lot of things and we might do a lot of things well, some things we may not do well. And unfortunately, relationships are one of those things that can fall through the cracks. So just really quick, I'm ready to get into this trailer.
Yes,
and so really quick here, the synopsis: a woman sends a voice note to a friend she's been meaning to reach out to. As we follow the journey of the message, we see the friend descending into crisis. We can only hope that she gets the message before it's too late, be it in this world or the next. Okay, so here we go. We have the trailer for.
Hey girl. I was just walking through the park and it always reminds me of you. Work's been kicking off as always. Always too many meetings, too much politics, just too much. Except time. Time. That just keeps ticking and going by, doesn't it?
All right, and that is the voice note. Congratulations, ladies, on all of your success. I know that this is the first for Eyeruhnee Productions, and it's amazing to have this much success with your first project. I think that tells you you're doing something right. Things are aligning. This is something that's so right. Ladies, do you have any special thanks for your crew or your cast that helped you put this project together?
Yes, I feel like first and foremost for me anyway, I have to thank Kandy, you know, as the writer and producer of this. Like, we really wouldn't have this film without Kandy. Her resilience is what made it possible, because I'm a hothead. So throughout the whole process when things were happening, I was like, "Ugh!" It's like, no, we're gonna get it sorted. I've got my corporate hat on. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's moving as it should. It's okay. I was like, I'll cuss people. I'm happy to cuss people, but no.
I totally understood why.
Because you get so passionate about it, and for us,
Yeah.
this isn't just any film. It's not just any short film. It's honoring the life of somebody who was here, who is still here in one way, shape, or form, in some kind of capacity. It's so important for us to honor her life, her story, the love that she put out in the world. So the whole process of putting this out, that matters to the woman that we're honoring with the film, you know, that inspired it on Kandy's end. It's that, like, sometimes we don't see the impact of what we've done in our lifetime. It's through other people telling our stories and the people that it shifts, and that it moves. You know, that's how we see that. You know, we don't always see the work that we've done being realized in real time. And Kandy will, you know, add to that. I'm sure that when it came to, like, getting access to the park where we could film this, when it came to just getting access to certain things, so many people were so enthusiastic about helping us because they knew her. And so it's a reminder to us all, really, that it isn't just the people who react to us while we're here with what we're doing. Hopefully, the passion that we show through the things that we do continue to live on well beyond us. And to the actress Kemi, well, all of the cast and crew, really, but specifically Kemi, who plays this role, how she took it on, how she was able to really embody the quiet grief that one can feel as they yearn for to be truly seen. I think that any person who watches this, especially Black women who watch this film, I hope that they see in themselves that we are trying to see them even at the times that they feel unseen. And, you know, a massive thank you to the team, Laura, who was our videographer, our cinematographer for this. Everyone came and they brought a lot of energy to what we've made. Even in terms of our crew, in terms of makeup and hair, we were so particular that we, just because it's a story that speaks of trauma, does not mean that we represent Black women on screen in a derogatory way or in a way that doesn't bring out their beauty. So we were so particular. So Tara Michelle, who was on the hair, Blessing, who was on the makeup, everyone really came together to say, yes, this is a sad story, but our story doesn't end here. And there was still beauty in us as we were going through all of those things. So it was really a blessing to be able to work with so many people. And to the investors, I don't even know them personally, but for them to have believed in the story that we wanted to tell, about this wonderful woman's life, and to come on board in the way that they did, unwavering. You know, sometimes people want to invest and they want to dictate to you how you're going to make what you're going to make, whereas this was very hands off. Like, we trust you, go ahead and make the movie that this woman deserves. And I don't even just we've done that just yet. I think we've done a part of it, but there's still so much more that we could do with this story.
So much more, so much more. And I feel that building around this film. Have you ladies submitted this film to other festivals? Are you going to continue to give this film life? What's next for the Voice Note?
And we've had some success. We're still out at another 20 something plus, and there'll be more. So it's yeah, we're going to I think 2 or 3 others, but we haven't announced it yet. So I don't want my marketing manager to be like, Kandy, get on this interview and tell everybody our business plan. So yes, and I'm also working on potentially trying to get into a series. Like, once you see the film, you'll meet 5 beautiful characters that have their story, and it would work really well as a feature. So it definitely has legs, and I think people connect to it on a universal level. I just want to echo what Kelechi was saying, sort of, yes, and thank Kelechi. It wouldn't be what it is without Kelechi's vision as a director. She's an amazing director. Like, I mean, insane. And she'll say things that I'm like, that's what I meant. Yes. Again, it from all the way back at the theater to today, it just gave me so much comfort, because I am a highly strung human, and I think I am Kandy from corporate sometimes, or Sharon from corporate, which is the joke we have, because it takes a lot for me to lose it. When I lose it, I'm done. So I'm like, no, we're going to get through this 3-day shoot, and we're going to do it. And it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of energy. You don't want to waste people's time. So I just wanted to thank Kelechi just for her talent and turning up and elevating everything she touches. Let's be honest. And for her patience. I know she says she's a hothead, but frankly, I thought she's amazing. And there was a lot of teamwork. There was wonderful communication between us, a lot of trust. And for me, as a producer and as a writer, I felt my story was safe and the work was safe, and we'd get it done. And because sometimes you do need to affirm, and sometimes you need a little honey, and then it works that way. And to the cast, it's this, for me, the thing that I've been thinking a lot lately. This is a love letter to Black women, right? All the things that we go through that we don't talk about because you don't want to put your business in the street. And I know that works in the diaspora and back home, always turning up, always looking at the societal pressure, and then being the most appropriated demographic in the world. So while also being told you're not enough all the time, it's the biggest head, and yeah, that meant a lot for me, and what Kelechi was saying to Tara and Blessing. And as an actor, and this happens to me all the time, it happened yesterday, you turn up and they look at you and go, yeah, your hair will be fine. So I only get my makeup done on shoots. I was on a shoot yesterday. I got my makeup done, and she looked at my curls. Was like, yeah, that'll be fine. And happen, you know, when Tara, our who did the hair, very specific intentional things were discussed around the hair. So the storytelling, which we do culturally and very much in this film, everything had a purpose, everything was telling the story, whether it was the hair or the makeup, the colors, like the level we took it to. And that's what I love about this movie, is you can just watch it and see a wonderful movie. But then if you sort of know the in jokes, and if you kind of pick up, there's just, it's really rich. It's really rich. I'm really proud of it. And, you know, to the cast, this is a triggering story for any adult Black woman, I think, to kind of see, and in the world, and it taps into those universal things around grief, loneliness, not being seen, and how we all sort of can buzz around each other. So I want to really thank the cast, because I think it was a lot to take on, and as an actor, I want to, yeah, like Kemi, and it's a lot. I think she really went there, and I wouldn't have expected that from her as a producer, let alone a friend or anything else. And she really wanted to do the story the justice, and she really felt it. She connected to it on so many different levels, energetically, spiritually, not just intellectually. And she allowed herself to be that vessel, and I know that's not easy. So I'm just really grateful. You know, the ones for Film Office, again, everything aligned because of this friend, this wonderful legacy that my friend left. And yeah, people connected with the story, and they were like, let's tell this story. So I really think the more people see it, it's beautiful on its own. I'm really proud of it. It's its own thing. It's complete, and I love it. There's plenty of room for it to grow, and I couldn't have imagined being here at this point. And so many things have just moved out of the way for this story and this movie to exist here and now, that I can't even imagine where it will go. So we'll just, yeah, I just want to see, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to everyone for their time, their energy. It's a precious resource. None of us are getting any of it back. So when people give you their time, it's worth more than anything. So yeah, I'm really grateful.
That's right. Yeah. Is this a true story?
It is inspired by, so I was very mindful. So I lost a friend, but I can't tell her story, right? You know, so I wanted it to be about those left behind and the survivor's guilt, and those moments of, I hope you get this message, because this is what I should have said. What I saw you. Yeah. I saw you. I noticed that, and I saw you, and I didn't know, you know, and I hope, you know, and there were just so many things, and Kelechi can probably second this, but there was just so many things in the shoot. It was just spooky. Like things happen. Oh my goodness. Something would move out the way, a situation would shift, or whatever it was. But yeah, it just feels like a really blessed project, and I'm grateful to tell it. You know, it's not a true story in the sense of these are all fictionalized characters and relationships that were invented by me as a writer to tell that narrative, but it's based on reality. It's inspired by reality, as I suppose all art is, really. So
yeah. Kelechi, would you like to add to what she said?
No, I think Kandy covered it perfectly. It's exactly that. It's about the lives we inspire. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, it's the passion that we put into life when we don't realize that actually when we are no longer here, that passion lives on, and people create with it, and they create honorably with it. And I pray that that's what we're doing and how it's received.
Yeah. And now I want to shift a little bit as we talk about how precious life is. Right now, in almost any industry, you can see the way that AI is infiltrating the system. How do you ladies feel about AI? And was any of that, was AI used to create this movie at all?
No, there was no AI used to create anything regarding the movie. At the same time, I just feel like, you know, I'm not scared of AI in a way that other people might be. I mean, I write science fiction, right? So I've got my novel Awakened that's out now. And in there,
I would love to talk about that too.
yeah, and there's an humanoid humanoid character AI who's running for mayor of London. And to me, it's more of a chance. AI is actually a chance for us to look at our lives and say, is this how we want to live it? Because currently, when we say artificial intelligence, the kind of artificial intelligence that we think that we're interacting with isn't even intelligent. It's just a large language model. It's just scraping different words that other people have written, other humans have written, and it's kind of putting them together based on the prompt that one gives it. It can't yet think. It can't go beyond what it's currently being given. It requires us. So when people say that they're scared of AI, I'm just asking, what are you scared of? Because your creativity is innate within you. If you say that you're scared of the way that a capitalist structure is going to use AI in order to underpay you, in order to undercut you, that's quite a different thing. Your issue isn't with artificial intelligence. It's not with AI. It is with capitalism. So we need to, every time, we're going to circle back to looking at the ways in which systems try to underpay, undercut marginalized folk, try to underpay creative, so that we are forced to go back into a system, be absorbed into a system that is more corporate, that requires our compliance, and therefore will exploit our complicity in depravities and oppressions that are taking place all over the world. So AI isn't our problem. Anti-Black racism, capitalism is.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. And somebody needed to hear you say that, because there's so many different opinions on AI, and some people are scared, or they want us to be scared. They feed in us that fear. So thank you for saying that. Kandy, your opinion on AI and how it might affect the film industry?
That's a good question. I'm like, let me just let Kelechi address
Yeah,
that.
she nailed it. She nailed it for sure.
No, it's 100%. And that fear, the only thing I to yes and is that I think that fear is also peddled big time. I think it's a distraction technique. It's very much a look over there thing about, yeah, be afraid of the tag, when it's like, I'm the one, stripping the earth and, stripping Congo for materials and all, but it's the AI will take your job. So it always kind of centers on, and Kelechi, you said this, our loss. What can we lose? What am I going to take from you? What am I going to lose? Don't fight this. And the attention, so the fear is understandable, but it's always, it tends to be directed away from where it actually should land. Because when you look at the structures that Kelechi always eloquently speaks about, they're the same mechanism, just a different label. At the moment, it's AI. That's just a tool, and in the right hands, it could be incredibly helpful and free up our brains to do a lot of other things, but it's not going to be used that way. So we should be looking at the people who are using it and weaponizing it, as they do with lots of other things like politeness and, and all the things that they do in capitalism, to stop people from not just speaking up, but from questioning the structure of how we live and why we do what we do day to day. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And thank you, ladies, for sharing your opinion on AI. So as we draw to the end of our interview here, I wanted to find out, I know you said you can't share what's happening next, but I wanted to find out personally, are you ladies working on anything that you can share? What's next for you? Personally.
I'll let Kelechi start.
I'm just out here, working on the next novel. I've got to do a part 2 to the novel that's out now. Just some writing, other pieces of writing as well that have to be out in the world. But ultimately, I'm just taking this time that's a bit more slow to really be introspective. There's so much happening in the world, and as a backdrop to all that we're saying now, there are multiple genocides happening. And so how does my creativity lead not just to my liberation, but the liberation of others around me, wanting to use my time in that way? So for instance, being in Grenada, I know that everyone wants to see my fancy mask costume, but if you're going to look at the mask costume, let me talk to you about how we've never experienced, or we've been brought up to not question our government. So even when our governments are acting against us, actively acting against us, meaning us harm, we can't fathom that a governmental system would do that. And so we don't really know how to act. So it's taking what people want to see and giving them what they need to hear. Right? And trying to bring the two together and finding different ways to do that, because art by nature is political. Anyone who says otherwise is probably an oppressor. So it's looking at how I can use my creativity and the art that moves through me for some kind of good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like people are receiving your message? Even with Awaken, do you feel like people are receiving the message that you wanted to convey through this book?
Yeah, absolutely. They're receiving it. My ego says not enough people are receiving it, and that's always a thing. The ego wants to come forward and say, oh, but, when your first book came out, you sold this number, and why aren't people buying this? And why? And it's being able to calm the spirit, calm the self, and say that nothing, like, time is a construct, and the system works in order to make us doubt our truths. And I feel that what I've written and awakened, what I share on social media, those are aspects of truths that I'm discovering, and multiple things can be true at the same time. But these are aspects of truths I'm discovering, and not everybody arrives on that path at the same time. So patience also needs to be exercised. And who am I so desperate for to acclaim this work, to validate this work? I've written it, I wrote it, I put it out in the world. It's already legitimate by design, so that's okay. And people will find it when and if they need to.
Yeah, that's so good, and it has a long life to live. So that's what's beautiful about it. Candy, for you, do you mind sharing what's next for you?
It's just I am NDA'd up to my eyeballs at the moment. Really exciting things, actually. So yeah, as an actor, I've got something really exciting that I'll be working on in about the next 2 or 3 weeks. We've got a shoot coming up, and I can say nothing about that. I probably said too much already. As writing wise, there is a feature that I'm working on that's getting some traction as well. But again, I can't say a darn thing publicly about it. But really great things as a writer, as a producer, as an actor. So I'm feeling really blessed. Like I got back from holiday on Monday, and I just felt like the powers that be were like, she deserves some news. And like all these emails came in at the same time about festivals, about my acting, about my writing. I was like, oh, but you're sowing these seeds for years, right?
That's right.
It's like they're like buses, they all just start turning up. And I think because there's a saying in England, being long in the tooth, because I'm getting older. I also know, just to echo what Kelechi was saying around ego, that these things, they come and they go, and sometimes things land or not. And I know what it's like to be at something big and not. So I treat everything the same, whether it's a short, whether it's a press launch, whether it's a Hollywood or not. I just turn up. And I give everything the same respect and the same treatment. So I'm just living my best creative life at the moment, which is great. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm earning $50 million. It just means I'm being a truthful and joyous creative, because there's nothing but the work, really. We think, like Kelechi was saying, around accolades and this and that, and they are wonderful. Please, more accolades. But what I mean is the day-to-day, you just peak and trough if you're only living for that. What happens with what Kelechi said around everyday magic, those beautiful moments. And I think as a writer and an actor, I'm a real observer of humanity. So I do try to really value every single second, because I won't forever, right? So yeah, I'm sorry. You could see where we get the spiritual thing from in the film. That's where it comes from. It's how we live. It's how we live. So yeah.
I haven't seen the film, but I will at Urban Fest. And just that snippet of the trailer, it's like, I want to know more. I want to know more what this story means, the depth of this story. And that's what putting together a good trailer does for the audience. So ladies, will we be seeing you at Urban Fest in September?
Looking like it. Very much looking forward to being there.
That's really good news. Really great news. Have you ever been to Orlando or spent any time?
Never. So
only Miami. And Gabby, I think you mentioned that you're not too far. My biggest fear is alligators and ice. So
Okay.
Get smash off these streets now. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
all right. I can tell you this. 2 things. Don't eat the ice. We're just gonna put it out there. Don't eat the ice. And the alligators. I was told that they spray something around the ponds or the wherever alligators live, and it keeps them in the water.
Okay.
Right? It's something. I don't, but it's supposed to keep them, make them not want to come out and get on it on the grass, so it's supposed to keep them in the water. But alligators. They're not just gonna walk up on you, especially not in the city of Orlando. So you
Okay.
should be good. Just don't stand up too close around the water. And the rest of your visit to Orlando should be a really good time.
Okay.
Yes, ladies, I'll be there. I'll be on the red carpet. So
Yes.
please connect with me. Give me another interview. And I'm hoping to connect with you separately because we'll have a sit down initiative too. I would love to talk with you too deeper, especially about the voice note. I'm rooting for you, you ladies. I'm on your side now. You'll see me in your comments and just supporting you.
Thank
And one thing that I've been asking people this whole time doing these interviews: how can the community of filmmakers support you in your endeavors? Sorry. So you got it. How can the community of filmmakers support you with the voice note or your next film or any of the projects that you put out? Because sometimes, and the reason I ask the question is because sometimes I feel like you have to tell people how to support you. Just like you talk about your relationship with your friends. They may not know, like, this is what I need from you as my friend. I need, maybe I need more than a voice note. I need to talk once a week or something like that. So I always like to just make it plain and clear. How can we support
I would say it's just like, I guess, connections, let's network. If they know of people who are investing in certain things, if they, things like that, that really goes a long, long way, helping us to share the trailers and to, things like that. That makes a big difference when we do finally have the film out for the general public to be able to view, supporting us by sharing that as well, because you don't know who it can reach through you. Like, some people think, oh, I've only got 5 people who follow me on socials, but you don't know out of that 5 who could make a mountain of a difference, or who they end up sharing it with. So no matter how small you think it is, just getting the word out there, getting the word out there for each other makes the world of a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Candy, for you?
Yeah, no, same. It was, yes, and as always, yeah, social media, I think, would be the biggest thing, because we're really thinking about, as I feel like we do with everything, we're real thinkers over here, what we're putting out, and the content we're putting out. So amplifying that is always super helpful. Yeah, and just supporting the work, is seeing it, turning up when you can, and checking in on the journey. And we very much do the same for other creatives. I think it's the only way. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, ladies, you got a friend in me, and when you come to Florida,
Thank you,
look for
Candy.
me. Okay.
Look forward to meeting you again.
Absolutely. Same. So again, this has been another Actors Talk in collaboration with Urban Fest 360, happening September 20th through 21st in Orlando, Florida at Afro TV Studios. The Voice Note has been nominated for Best Short Film. So ladies, we are rooting for you, and thank you again for joining me today.
Thank you,
All right.
Gabby. Thank you
We'll see
very
you in
much.
Orlando.
Thank
See you
you.
then.
Bye-bye.
We're on, girl. We are
right.
live.
All right.